make sure it's on silent or vibrate. All hearts and minds clear? Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the City of Douglas Mayor and Commission meeting. Correction, this will serve as our work session, August 26, 2019. As always, we'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Davis, to lead us through the work session.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We'll start off with the first item, review of the August 12, 2019 minutes.
They look fine, Mayor. I checked them over.
Consent. Commissioner Moore. Consent. Mr. Durham.
Consent.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Consent.
Good deal.
Next item, item 2, tab A, discuss the City of Douglas elections agreement. Be one of the board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Coffee County Board of Elections and Registration, which will conduct the City of Douglas 2019 elections. As you can see, the contract is in the agenda item. The elections will be at the Central Square Gymnasium on November 5th, 2019. And the Coffee County Board of Elections and Registration will be responsible for the total elections, and our city attorney, Jerome Adams, has reviewed this agreement.
Commissioner McNeil.
Motion to approve, Mayor,
Aye.
or rather the, excuse me,
Consent.
the consent agenda. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Moore.
Consent.
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 Good. Commissioner Pearson. We're on item number 2.
Y'all can proceed, I'll just look at it and see it.
Okay. Item number 1, the minutes was put on the consent, and the Douglas election is also on the consent.
Thank you.
The Douglas election, you say?
The Douglas elections agreement for the county to do it.
Do we have to agree on that every year?
Every time there's
Every
an
time
election.
there's an election?
Yes, because back several years ago, just there, when we was on Bill Assembly, we got that act passed where we're bound to let them conduct the election, we're not sure. Unless you get legislation change.
Okay, that's why I was wondering why we're voting on it, if it's mandatory.
What the legislation says is that you will enter into a contract with board.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Next item be item 3, tab B, discuss the FY20 roof repairs at the old historic World War II flight training base. That'll be standing there.
How you doing,
Good
sir?
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Here to talk about roof repair at the airport. Consists of 4 different buildings. Sent out several bids. Only had 2 no bids and 1 bid. And the grand total of that bid was $24,209. Recommended that you approve this $24,209. Also requesting litter damage or potential damage of unseen. When they go to covering these roofs, they have potential damage to allow an additional $15,000 if it's only needed.
Commissioner Pearson.
I'm fine with it,
Consent.
yes.
Mr. Moore.
Consent.
Ms. McNeil. Mr. Durham.
Consent. Consent.
Consent.
Next item, item 4, tab C, discuss the approval of the consultant agreement for the downtown pocket park area.
How you doing, Ms. Evans?
Good evening, how are y'all?
Doing well.
Just to give you a background, in 2017, the city of Douglas was deeded the property located at 106 South Madison Avenue that was previously owned by Mr. Sid Cottingham. The building was demolished and the lot has basically sat vacant since that time. The Downtown Development Authority have been discussing some ideas for that park, and the city opened up bid proposals. We received one, and you all approved for W&A Associates out of Athens to be a consultant. Since that time, whenever I came to you all for their approval, they have given us a proposal, and that proposal is what I'm seeking for you all to approve tonight. It is one not to exceed $5,000, and it would be for the conceptual plan that they would design for that vacant area. What we're hoping for is to, excuse me, I have a little sinus going on, I have a cough drop, I'm sorry. But what we're hoping to do is redevelop it as green space with, multi-purpose type use for little concerts and venues in that area. So tonight, we're here seeking your approval, to allow Mayor Paul to execute the, contract for WNA Engineering to serve as consultants to draft up a conceptual plan for the downtown park.
Commissioner
Park
Pierce?
area.
Okay, what date did we do that, Ms. Henderson?
It was a
What date?
few meetings ago, wasn't that long, within the last 2 months.
Okay. I don't recall it, but I might have missed that meeting. Okay, so did we check with any others? Because help me.
We did, we opened it up, they were the only ones to bid
That
on
bid
it.
on it?
There was actually another one, but their bid came in late past the deadline.
Okay,
But,
all
there
right.
was no local bids on it, so both were from out of town, but this is the one that met the qualifications and received them on time.
Okay, all right, well, considering that, I'm in agreement with consent.
Consent? Mr. Moore? Ms. McNeil? Mr. Durham?
Consent.
Next item 5, discuss the authorization to file a grant application for the Georgia Council for the Arts, George Henderson.
All right, with the historic air base, we are seeking funds as they come across our desk. This is one of those, small grants that come across. It's with the, Georgia, Council for the Arts. And we, are gonna put in a grant application. We want your permission to do so. The amount that we're putting in is $20,000. We propose to use matching funds that we put, some money in the budget this year to try to do some of the renovations on some of those buildings out at their base. As you can hear Stanley's proposal, that he presented about the roofing needs to be done. There's also a lot of other work needs to be done on those buildings to bring them to par, so they can be usable, to the community. But, we're here tonight, we have a letter that needs to go, with the grant. It's authorizing a letter for the funds, committing $20,000, for the reconstruction of the buildings of the 63rd Army Air Force's contract pilot school, also known locally as the World War II Flight Training Base. So we're just seeking permission to, file the grant and Mayor Paul to execute it.
Commissioner Pierce?
I'm in agreement for that with, going on the consent agenda.
Mr. Moore? Ms. McNeil?
Yes, sir. Sorry about this one.
Mr. Durham?
Consent.
Mr. Gallo?
Consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item will be item 6, tab E, discuss the fee waiver for the use of the gym by the Georgia Department of Labor for the job fair. Steve Young.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Georgia Department of Labor will be sponsoring the job fair, annual job fair, in conjunction with the city of Douglas, the Douglas Area Employee Committee, and the Douglas County Chamber of Commerce. Will be October 16th and 17th. The job fair will actually be the 17th. They'll let it come in early, get set up on the 16th. We support it in any kind of way possible.
Consent. Mr. Durham? Consent? Mayor Pro Tem?
Consent.
Ms. McNeil?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Consent? Mr. Moore? Ms. Pierce?
Definitely consent.
Good deal.
Next item 7, tab F, discuss a G.B.R loan modification of the completion date by Mike Hudson.
How you doing, Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Good evening, Mayor and Commission.
Good evening.
I would like to point out there is a mistake in my background. That date that says September 24th.
Background.
In my, not my background, his background. I'm clean. September 24th, 2019 should be September 24th, 2018, that the mayor and commission approved Mayor Paul to sign the original documents on this G.B.R loan. What we're coming before you tonight to ask for is an extension or a modification of this loan. We asked for a waiver on the June 2019 completion date of construction. We were verbally granted that waiver. Now we have the actual modification documents in place. The new construction completion date will be July of 2020.
which will push the closing date on the loan to November 1st of 2020. Original closing date was October 1st of 2019. So basically tonight, we're just asking you guys to let Mayor Paul sign the modification documents, and that's what we'd be asking for tonight. No change in the loan amount, just ask for the completion date to be changed.
Mr. Moore?
We discussed it and I'm in agreement with it.
Consent. Ms. Pierce?
Consent.
Ms. McNeil?
Consent.
Mr. Dern?
Consent.
Consent.
Thank you.
Next item be item A, tab G, discuss surplusing and donating the old police cars to the Coffee County Board of Education. As you know, they've, started up their own, security force at the elementary school, middle school. One of the things they're in need for is, are some police cars. We have some old police cars that we're getting ready, if we don't surplus them through this process, we'll be surplusing them through Gov Deals. And so I told them about Lisa to submit us a letter and then we would consider donating, however many yard size to donate, but we've got 5 on the yard, that needs Gov Deals. So I bring it here tonight to ask y'all to discuss and potentially approve donating some, old police cars to the, Board of Education.
When we talked, we said we get about what? How much money we normally get for them on Gov?
1,500, 1,800, something like that.
1,800. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
Police Department, talk to me about this.
This is something the chief and I previously discussed, and I'm okay with it.
Okay, consent,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dern?
What's the condition of the cars to him? Some of the commissioners out, if the chief could tell us.
My understanding, there's some of the doors are literally falling off of. They would have to take them and do some maintenance on them. They've been used, but they would have to do some maintenance on them. And basically, they want vehicles that will be able to sit in front of the school. They're not going to be used for patrol. They're basically a deterrent to be sitting in front of the school and maybe do a round around the campus. But they're not going to be used for general patrol like we would use them.
I have a question. So you said,
Excuse me, he's still,
okay,
you good?
So I know we're giving them, we want these to be used for them. And you said how much they go off on?
City manager said
$1,800, it depends on, each time's a little different depending on somebody wants to.
So is it something they can,
Something they could put some money into and have a vehicle good enough to set up in front of the school and maybe drive around the campus a couple of times a day. They're not worthy of general patrol, and patrolling the entire city, but they'd be good for campus, security.
basically what I was saying was, if we put them on, what it is,
Gov Deals.
Gov Deals.
yeah, they'll give us a little something for that. So is it a little bit they can give us?
something.
Just like in the past, they've donated those trailers to us, one of those old modular homes or whatever.
Mm.
We're also later on gonna be in discussions with them on some paving, on some other stuff. So,
Oh, yeah, 'cause that was my next question.
so
That was coming with the complex is coming out there for us. So
this-
are they gonna do some in agreements with us on the roads? Cause I remember when we was in past meetings with the Parks and Recreations, I just want, like,
I mean, there's no committal today on that, but that also helps
okay,
when we get those points.
okay.
Anything else, Commissioner?
Mm.
Commissioner Pierce? Think
I
you
was
had a question?
trying to ask, to clarify the amount that they said that we would get for the car. And my concern is, Charlie just mentioned something about they donated trailers
Yes, ma'am.
to the city.
Yes, ma'am. We use them down like in the wastewater treatment plant when we set up the mobile offices, the offices down there. I think the one at the Get Natural Gas, wasn't that, didn't that come from the school system? The fire training center, that came from the school system. And there's those big double wide modular, office complexes or whatever. So it's not unusual for us to swap back and forth when we had those items at that time.
Approximately what is the, Board of Education's, budget, that they, annual budget?
I don't know why. I have no idea.
I would think it's quite a bit more than ours, though, right?
I don't think it's large enough, but, we had the utility side of things, our general fund is probably bigger than ours, but when you throw in the enterprise fund, like I said, but they, and here again, they don't need they don't need brand new cars to ride around, but they just need cars sitting out front with lights going on and stuff, and that's kind of a good fit. We've got cars that, they're not good for driving around, so it's sitting there with a flashing light.
I'm just a little concerned that, I don't know, that we don't get anything for them. I mean, so that, if it's 5 vehicles and people sell $1,500 to $1,900, I mean, I just would be in favor of getting something. That's my thought.
Okay. Commissioner Moore?
Well, we've got them, and, I think we should get something out of it. My opinion.
Commissioner Gant?
I respect our city manager's opinion here that there's been that there's been property of equal value traded. I think our relationship with the Board of Education, we want to maintain that very well, an open door type policy. And in fact, I just met with the school board the other night about our land bank authority idea and our $5,000 we requested from them on that. So they're considering that. That'll be a plus for us there. So I would be in favor of donating.
Correct. So, I'm in favor of it, but that's not unanimous, so we're gonna bring that one forward. We'll discuss that one under the lights. Okay?
Next is our, annual 2019, millage tax ordinance. This will be the first reading, on here, I'll bring up the information.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Each year, the city of Douglas is required to set the tax millage by ordinance. As required by the state law, a 5-year history of the city's property tax digest and levy, and notice of public hearing on the attached ordinance was published in Douglas Enterprise on August 22nd, 2019. It will run again August 29, 2019. The proposed tax ordinance should be read for the first time this evening. The public hearing, as required by law, is scheduled for 7 p.m. Monday, September the 9th, 2019. Following the public hearing, the ordinance will be presented for action. This ordinance sets the net millage rate at 7.387 mils for the city and 1 mil for the industrial authority, for a total of 8.387 mils. And this is no increase in taxes. It's just something we have to do anyway. I'm seeking for y'all to allow, for the Mayoral Commission to allow the first reading of the proposed 2019 tax ordinance tonight.
Okay, thank you. You good with, first reading?
Yes, sir. Thought we were good this morning.
You're good. Excuse me. Commissioner Durham?
That's it.
No, first reading.
First reading.
You good?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore?
This is just the first reading.
Yes, just the first reading. Commissioner Pierce?
In favor of first reading.
Okay, we'll carry that one forward.
Next would be, the FY19 budget amendment, and then Tommy here also.
Okay. First of all, on the very beginning of this work session item where it says purpose, I need you to make some changes on some dates. The years are incorrect on that first line there under purpose. It says to seek approval of the amending of the FY, and that should say 19, City of Douglas budget to reflect changes that have occurred since the adoption of the FY19 budget on June 11th, 2018. And what happens is these are just, you pull up last year to go in there and change the data, and so those dates, I just want to make sure that really don't have anything to do with the meat of this, but they need to be correct.
Correct.
Y'all need to be
Right.
aware of. All right, changes expenditures have occurred since the adoption of the FY nineteen budget on June 11, 2018, making it necessary to amend the said budget. The proposed FY nineteen amended budget has no changes in any of the funds or workers' comp insurance trust. The only changes is within the special revenue funds. And if you look down, that's about the third or fourth sentence down. It says special revenue funds are adjusted to reflect a total decrease in revenue and expenditures of a negative 18,344,117. Changing the total special revenue fund budget from 27,387,424 to 9,043,307. So what we're asking is y'all to amend the FY nineteen budget, bringing down the total annual budget, from 102,558,549 down to 84,214,432. And that's the request for y'all to adopt a resolution to amend the FY nineteen budget.
You good?
And those adjustments are within the special revenue funds, and it has to do with, as y'all are aware, a lot of our building programs that we're all talking about, in the new pool, and the park, and the Parks and Rec complex, all of that has been delayed, so we didn't spend money as we thought we would be spending in this FY nineteen budget. So that's why our budget numbers dropped instead of increased.
Commissioner Taylor?
I'm approving, I talked to Mr. Thomas, this one, everything looks good.
Good. Commissioner Durant?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Ms. McNeil?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore? Ms. Pearson?
Mr. Harold,
Yes, ma'am.
so actually, I was not at our budget meeting this year. So, and I meant to get in touch with the city manager earlier about getting my budget packet,
Okay.
but I have a question. Other than what you mentioned in terms of why the budget has reduced, are there any other items that caused the reduce in the budget that you know of? Because I just received a letter, not long ago from National League of Cities saying that the city of Douglas is no longer a member of National League of Cities. And I'm wondering why, because I was not aware that we no longer had our membership with NLC. So, considering that and any other memberships that we've been, a member of, did you know that we no longer had our membership with, National League of Cities?
No, ma'am.
Did you know?
I didn't know we was a member of it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess that's something Mr. Cagle must, I don't know.
Yeah, we were definitely a member. That's how I got a chance 2 or 3 years ago to travel to Washington DC for the annual conference that was going on, which was very, very, very valuable knowledge and information. So, I know I have.
Can you provide me some data, like who I can
Yes,
contact?
yes, sir, I sure
And
can.
I'll get on that.
Yes, cause when I got that letter, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I did not know that we were no longer members. I'll get it to you, okay?
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm,
Any other questions?
that's all I have.
You okay with the consent?
I'll abstain for now, till I can
Okay.
get some more information.
We'll carry that forward. Next.
Next item, we have, 3 on the agenda print, is 2, but 1 come in after the agenda was printed. We have 3 people appearing, none under general comments. The first one will be, Reverend, Lynette Richardson.
And I think we have everybody here. We have about 35 minutes. So if we can try to be as brief as possible and allow the commission as much time as possible to ask any questions. How you doing, Minister?
Good
Doing all right?
evening.
First of all, I'm gonna give honor to God and praise in my life. And I will honor the mayor, the commission, and everybody in it.
Amen.
And so, everybody that's here in their place, we thank you, sir. I just glad to be back here. I was asked, when I was in the last time to come back in March. And, I talked with Ms. Georgia Minister, she had me was on the agenda, so they put me on the agenda, so to make sure I would be here in this month, when the month comes, and that's why I'm here. Nobody else, pressured me, talked to me about coming. I'm here because I want to be here, and I'm here to represent, this, coffee shining house of, for the peoples. And, they had asked me to bring this to their attention, and they give me a paper, the CFW, when we came out to the question, and told me why I want to do this. And so I wrote it out, and then there's the paper before you, I give out to you. And so this outreach ministry is to provide, to feed the hungry all across Coffee County. This program is more than just feeding the hungry. Also, this program is to help change the lives of so many young men and young women. So, can do better things with their lives in the community. That's what I'm about here, trying to make a difference with the young people in Coffee County. Because I see so many of them on the streets, all the time up under the trees and everywhere. And I just want to do this, and I have a vision, like I said on the paper here, for the letter that I presented to y'all tonight. So I'm asking the city of Douglas to help me to provide a house, a place to start this program. I want to bring in others to help me with the operation of this program for this house. Because I cannot do it by myself. No man is an island, and we must come together to work together, not just for what we want to do it for, but we got to do it for all the things to help the community of Coffee County. And if somebody got an idea that will help Coffee County and put it on the agenda and bring it to your attention, I feel like it should be heard and recognized. And I'm not here to try to, like I said in the beginning, to line my own pocket. Like they use a lot of people here in Coffee County, they have buildings, but they line in their own pockets with them buildings. They are not helping the people in Coffee County. But if you help me to get this building, and another thing, while I'm on this, if I may say this, I want to get your permission to say it before I, say it. I don't want to say get out of turn, but I want to say, if it's okay for me to speak on Mr., he is my cousin, not Mr. Street, my cousin. If it's okay for me to speak.
Sure, go ahead.
Because his father was Mr. Lonnie Street Senior, worked for the city.
Right.
He retired.
Mm-hmm.
He was my cousin. He always called my mother big cousin and called me little cousin. But he is my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But if he wants the house to store his equipment, it's fine with me. But I just want the city, I want you, Ms. Poundham, the commission, the mayor, and everybody that had promised me the house, that they would help me with the house. I want you to pursue on doing that. Now, I have no problem with him getting that building, because I understand, I haven't looked at the building, but they told me that the building was like a shell, it's not really equipped, to go in and set up for food and, stuff like that, for the people. So,
Okay.
if you would help me to find another building, work with me on that, and have me to come back on another time and let me know what you have come up with. I would appreciate it mostly.
Okay, let me see if the commission, thank you, Mr. Rich, Commissioner Pearson.
Okay, well, I just want you to be clear, Minister Richardson, that I think it was our last meeting we had, it was voted upon by this mayor commission to allow Mr. Street to use that building that, I'm sorry, that you are referring to on Railroad Street, the one that we initially talked about.
Yes.
So it's already been decided, cause we did vote, is that correct, Mr. City Manager?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
voted, okay, so he has that building. Okay, so, you know, I told you that, since it was looking like it was gonna be voted on to give it to Mr. Street, that we would try to see if we could find you another one. Now, one of my fellow commissioners mentioned, that there are some vacant buildings out at the airport. So it's a possibility that, you know, that you could get and go and look at one of those, you know what I'm saying? So I know we do have some buildings out there, so that's a possibility. So I don't have a problem with that because, like I said, at these other meetings, you have been coming, 2, 3 years, whatever it's been, trying to get this program off the ground, and you put it in writing to us as you were asked to do as to what you need from the city of Douglas. So, you know, I'm in favor of making this happen because there is a need to feed people, a need to clothe people, a need to get people out of the rain and cold when they're homeless. So there's definitely a need, and I still support this program, as I said to you years ago when you first started coming to us. So I don't have a problem with us trying to assist you with trying to get something else, okay? But I just want to ask you while you're standing there, because we got an email this morning from the mayor stating that I had pressured you to come to this, get on this agenda, to come before mayor and council. I need to hear from you. Have I pressured you in any way to come before mayor and council about a building or whatever?
I got to speak the truth. I'm a woman of God, and I'm a God-fearing woman. I don't know who else in here fears God, but I am scared to do anything that's wrong that I know that's wrong. You have not spoke to me or said anything or called me about. Only someone I talked with was Miss Georgia Henderson, and she put me on the agenda. That's one of the ones that I spoke to. But then I'm gonna tell you another thing. I went and looked at, but I know that wasn't gonna work. The housing authority, they had 3 buildings, but I didn't look at the building, but I did talk to Miss Clara Graham, and she told me right off the bat, no, those buildings are for rent, for day facilities. Now, they don't have nothing to do with the city of Douglas, the way she was telling me. And so, but she did bring me in and this and that and talk with me, but she encouraged me to come back here and talk with the mayor and the city commission and see what they say. All right, I did get out, and that's what I do. I get out and I talk with people everywhere. I talked with the Coffee County Board of Commission, and they agreed that they would work with this. I have paper with them right, getting right there.
Okay.
And also, Dr. Conrad Harper said that he would support it. Also, Chandra Henderson from the Tax Convention Office, she said she would support it. All right, Franklin Hayes said he would support it. Also, Tara Morgan would support it. And then I got so many other people, some people that the banks that don't support it. There's so many people that here, but I just I've been so busy, and I've been having to go to Savannah, but I'm gonna tell you, I got a little baby, and I want everybody in here to pray for that little baby. Great grandbaby that's 5 months old. She's been having seizures back to back. The little 5-month-old baby, but she went out there to call the region, but they weren't able to help her, so they sent her to Savannah. And you know, I was very hurt when I come in there today. I was so hurt. Because my daughter's lights was cut off, and I went to pay the light bill, and I told the people, I said, I'll be there before 5 and finish that. But anyway.
If it's okay, because we do have 2 other individuals.
Yeah, I understand it, but
And Commissioner Pearson said that she's in support of getting the building. Anything else, Commissioner Pearson?
No, just cleared it up, that email you sent about somebody
Okay, good.
questioning somebody, I don't
If you
appreciate
okay,
that lie.
getting her building, helping her get a building?
But before you cut me off, I did want to ask the family.
I'm sorry?
To be praying for that little 5-month-old baby. Please pray for her, because she needs the prayer of the righteousness.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Neal?
Yes, sir, I know it's definitely a need for homeless people and for us to step up to the plate in some manner, homeless people pie. I would have to say though that, in order to do this, as Commissioner Pearson brings about sometimes, I need a little bit more information because I need to know the house has gotta be insured and there's a lot of things like that, a lot of commitments and a lot of things from other people that we have to make it take place, to make it happen. Utilities have to be paid and those kinds of things, Mayor. So I wanna see a game plan, okay? I'm certainly willing to help, love to.
Commissioner
Thank
Taylor?
you.
Thank you.
Ms. Richardson, I admire what you're trying to do as for the outreach ministry to provide food for the hungry and program. And we, as a committee up here, we are involved in the helping the community. And if there's a way that we can, I'm all for it. But I got one or two questions. You say a program more than just where the food is coming from. That's one question I would like to know. Who is going to pay the light bill if we provide the house? Who's going to keep up the upkeep of the house? Do you have a plan on that? You know, those are some of the things.
I ain't, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of these people, I'm 69 years old, and I've been around, I don't know how old you is, but I think I'm a little older than you.
Just a
Let me
little
tell
bit.
you, I take it one day at a time, one step at a time. I gotta get a house first.
That's right.
That's the first thing I gotta do is get a house. Then I go from there. And once I
And she's
get
in
a
the
house,
process of
God,
developing a board.
I feel like God gonna do the rest.
And the board of directors will help you with utilities, will help you with getting the food, that comes afterwards. That's, you don't put the
And
cart
I
before
don't
the horse.
believe the city without y'all would have to take no money out of y'all's pocket. I mean, just like they can get.
That's what I want to hear, Minister.
Yeah, I mean,
We're
just like
good.
they can get grants for
Right.
trains, so many other different things, I feel like they can get a grant to help me to, once I get that building and get
Right.
in there, and, cause I'm gonna need people to cook, I'm gonna need a cook, I'm gonna need somebody for finance committee, I'm gonna need people to, I want a little small library in there.
Ms.
like-
Richardson.
Walmart
Richardson.
provides grant monies for food for needed communities, Ms.
Ms.
Richardson.
Richardson.
So that'll be compiled at a later time.
Ms. Richardson, you did answer my question. You asked me that we won't have to worry about none of the things that I asked you about, the
Yeah.
food and all that good stuff. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, okay,
So my thing would be to the board and commissioners, this building that on Railroad Street in McDonald, we leased that out to Mr. Street, right? So are there any other buildings that we have that are not occupied?
Commissioner Pearson at the airport?
Yes, sir.
At the airport.
So are there any buildings out there that's not occupied?
Yes.
I mean, just for clarification.
Yes, he's
Mhm.
addressing you, Ms. Hunter.
Yes, ma'am.
There are buildings at the airport, but they're not in any condition at this time for anyone to move in. Those are, like I told you, while we're seeking grant funds to do some reconstruction to those buildings. We have some agencies out there now that are nonprofit agencies, but the thing about it, they're paying rent. So I just, in y'all's consideration, before we do a contract, I just think, what the city's expecting. Because once we start with free rent and set a trend, the thing about it, we depend on that rent to go back into rehabbing those buildings on a historic base. We haven't even done any bidding yet to see how much funds will be required to bring those buildings up to code, to put another tenant in. What some of the agencies done that needed to go in there, they went in and rehabbed those buildings.
Right.
So that they can readily move in. So you all just have to tell us what type of agreement you want, if you, want her to have a contract with one of those facilities.
Okay.
Right.
And keep in mind that it needs to be short-term, because there is planned development out there. And once the momentum is going with tourism and, more aviation use, start to come in, that's why we had it for planned development. That's what we're primarily seeking. And all the tenants who are in there currently, we did tell them that prior to them moving in,
Okay.
that, if we have to, end the contract, we would give them so much notice.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
Okay, so are those the only buildings we have available? I'm just asking, because that's the only ones, okay, that's all my questions.
Mayor Pro Tem? Ellie? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Richards.
Before I sit down, I'm gonna say one thing. When I start this project, it's not gonna be no short term. It's gonna be continuous every day, because I wanna feed the people a hot meal every day, the people in Coffee County. So know that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. City Manager.
The next one is the American Legion Post 515 here to speak with us. You want the tax team after tonight?
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilor.
Good evening.
Hey.
My name is Alphaline Walker. I'm the commander of Post 515. So we have some events that are coming up that we would like to let you know about. We're going to have a community-wide 9/11 remembrance. We are supported by Citizens Christian Academy, CCA's Leo Club, Coffee High School, Junior ROTC, and Hardee's. So we're inviting you, put this on your calendars, September 11 at 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And we're gonna be in CCA's gymnasium, and we have a program and stuff. There is no cost, casual dress. This is a time to remember 9/11. Our next event, we are a big collaboration with the Heritage Station Museum on September 16th from 10 a.m. to noontime. We are going to have the American Legion Centennial Display. It's being put together at the library, and for those of you who don't know, the American Legion is celebrating our 100th year this year. So we've done it at conventions, and we want to make sure that the Douglas and Coffee Countyans have a chance to see what the American Legion is all about. So we invite you to this function, and we will have snacks, so if you wanna miss lunch and come over and join us, that's what we'd like for you to do. Mr. Loving.
Mayor and Commission, thanks again for having us here.
Yes.
Each of you should receive a card. At the top of that card, it says, everyone plays a part. And this is a reach across America. We've been doing this since 2014. Started with one cemetery up to 74 now, over 2,700 veterans. We continue to grow because people say, I want my loved one recognized on this day. So we can do it. We provide the workforce. We got a committee doing the work, but reefs cost money. We ask for donations from anyone that can and will to help us do that, because there's a mission. Remember, honor, teach. Remember those veterans that gave all of you the right, because none of you made it 100 years old, to be here, to sit up there, to sit here.
Amen.
Honor those that continue to serve and fight all across the world, the globe. But a task, the reason we stick to it is, we got young children. Got to teach them about the sacrifices made for those freedoms that we have. So we ask you to help us. If everybody sent $1, that'll be pretty good. Just come December the 14th at the Ware Center, participate in the ceremony. So we thank you. And how do we get money? We're 501c. You gotta give it to us, donations. So we have a fundraiser going, we always do raffles, and when we come to see you, buy a ticket, support a veteran.
And here's the very last thing. President Trump, with the assistance of our American Legion National Commander, has now signed a law that basically says anybody from December 7, 1941, with an honorable or under honorable conditions can now serve or apply for the American Legion post. Before, it was during war terms, but that's been eliminated. So from 1941 until another undetermined time, that they can join our organization and help us. So There were many veterans we weren't able to bring along, but now we're encouraging everyone with an honorable or under honorable conditions discharge to come and join us and help us promote the American Legion.
And those currently serving also, we take them and what was etched in my brain when I first joined American Legion, there's not a guarantee to join just because you meet that criteria. Every post accepts members based on what they believe are eligible and the character of that person. So, we need all of them.
Thank you.
All right. The centennial, what's that date again for that?
September 16th, from 10 to 12.
Okay, thank you.
At the museum.
Okay.
The next, person on the agenda would be Roscoe Allen, here to discuss some, concern regarding open records requests.
First of all, I want to clarify some things on the last meeting I had up here about trying to get reimbursed for the Sullivan I put in concerning the water and sewage. Article that was wrote by the Douglas Enterprise, which was interviewed by y'all city manager, Charlie Davis. It says, I want you to listen real well here, that I threatened a commissioner. Now, General Allen, you was in that meeting now. What commission did I threaten, General Allen? Tell me now, what commission did I threaten? I want to hear this now.
I don't know.
All that stuff.
The allegation was it was Commissioner Gallup, yeah.
Well, I ain't threatening nobody. That's a lie. I ain't talking to Mr. McCollum. Said not one word, Mr. Guy. You understand that? So that article Charlie Davis wrote in that paper was a lie. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I meant what I said. The next time I come up here, if he write an article concerning me, it ain't the truth. Guess what? I'm gonna sue the city for $50 billion. I meant just what I said. That's a fight. You hear me? I meant what I said. That was a lie. I didn't threaten nobody. A matter of fact, one commissioner heard Mike McGowan say this. On y'all listen, you hear me? On all y'all listen. He said, Roscoe make me beat his damn ass. That was it. That's right. You hear what I said? I meant what I said too. I meant just what I said. I meant it too. But all that crap to be about me, somebody threatened the commissioner, all them lies to put in the paper. That's right. Let it happen again. I'll show y'all. I meant just what I said. Now, number two, I want to know this, if y'all got an auditor on where it said that if you bring somebody up here to qualify for a city commission seat or whatever, you cannot sit in here, not saying a word, while they qualifying you about somebody down here. If y'all got an order against that, tell me now. I want to know this.
I had research it, I don't know.
Well, y'all didn't get an order. You got one called one other down there made all of us get out of him. That's right. That's sitting there. Ain't saying a word. We ain't got no order. You can't do that. You got an order. We can abide by that order. We ain't got nothing. You can't do that. You can't. That's a fight. Now, number three, every time I come up here, request through the Sunshine Open Record Act, I was told Ms. Warnella that paper need to be changed for 10 days. Now, I'm going to read you the law. I'm reading the penalty for it if you don't. I mean, just what I say. It states right here, from the time you file a open record required through the Sunshine Law, you got three, you heard what I said, 3 business days to get that back to whoever filed that open record request. Hey, here go the law right here. You got it? 3 business, not no 10 business days. Now, I told her that several times. You need to change that off that open record paper. You got that? This is the law right here. Now, for penalty and fine, if you don't have 3 business days of time to request that to back to them, and you can't charge more than 10 cents a copy. Now, this is a penalty for the city here.
Mr. Allen,
It say,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't
it say
know.
anyone who the court find knowledge and willful fail or refuse to timely provide access to record not subject to exemption is guilty of a misdemeanor punished by a fine not to exceed $1,000. Let me go on. I want you to hear this now. Ultimately, a court may impose a civil penalty
not to exceed $1,000 against anyone who neglected, failed, or refused to timely provide access to that person. The court also may impose a criminal fine or civil penalty not exceed $2,500 for each additional violation committed. Now you hear that? You need to change that, like I told you, to 3 business days from the time the person filed through the open record sunshine law.
So, Mr. Allen, may I ask, where did you see that it's printed at for 10 days? Because my knowledge is it's supposed to be 3 days also.
When she gave me a form, it's got 10 days on that form. You got it?
Okay.
I told her several times, she need to change that. That's not the law.
Okay.
That's why I bought the law and read it, y'all. You got it? Thank you.
Ms. Juanetta, are you familiar with the form he's referring to that has 10 days?
I'm knowledgeable about the form.
Is it 10 days or 3?
I'll contact him in 3 days.
But the law said, like I said, 3 days. I have been 4 or 5 days now. It said 3 days from the time a person filed that complaint. This is the fine penalty you get through the Attorney General, the state of Georgia.
Thank you. I knew it for 3 days, and I didn't know of anything for 10 days.
We're good?
Great.
Mr. City Manager, you have any comments?
No, sir.
None? All right, we got about 10 minutes. Let's go grab the soup, and we'll be back, do it under the lights.
Mr. Mayor, please, see you, please.
I'm going to the office. Grab my drink.
I'll see you when you come back. Did you keep that form that had the 10 days on it? Did you happen to keep that form?
You turn it in, see? You turn it in.
Yeah, I just thought you might have made a copy of it.
No,
I want to see what you gave.
Hey there. Hey there.
Thank you very much.
No, they fired me up. They ain't fired me up with that. No, they ain't got me fired up. They ain't got me fired up. I do my homework. They ain't got me fired up. Ooh, y'all, I got to see about it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, you saw it. That's the fine. That's what I'm at. This is what I'm
Good morning again, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead, it's 10 o'clock, time of convening our Wednesday, March 23rd, 2016 State Election Board meeting. So let me again welcome you to the making office of the Georgia Secretary of State this morning. In our first order of business, and now we'll move on to case number 2012-198. It's another Coffee County case, which 17, I'm under.
Yes, sir. In this complaint, Chairman, TTPV of the Coffee County Board of Elections and Registration filed a complaint with us concerning some electors that were receiving assistance during the November 6, 2012 general election. Our investigation revealed that respondents Charlie Mack Wooten, James Curtis Hicks, Evelyn Griffin, Charles Woods, and Olivia Pearson did in fact provide assistance to electors during the November 6, 2012 general election when those electors were not disabled or illiterate. Additionally, some voter certificates were not marked as to the reason for the assistance when Olivia Pearson assisted some voters. We recommend the following respondents: Coffee County Board of Elections and Registration, Judy Foskey and Charlie Mack Wooten, James Curtis Hicks, Olivia Pearson, Evelyn Griffin, and Charles Woods be bound over to the Attorney General's office for the list of violations.
All right, any questions for Mr. Lewis? Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good morning again. Jennifer Herzog, Counsel for Coffee County Board of Elections and Registration, 1564 King Road, Tipton, Georgia. As to case 198, this is an issue that was self-reported by the chairman of the Board of Elections in Coffee County when the office came to believe that certain poll workers might have provided assistance to voters that did not qualify for such assistance. Again, we recognized this as an issue and a training issue, and I actually have brought extra copies of what was previously provided to you in case you needed it for this case also. I'm not sure if you can use the same copy, it's certainly, okay. Some of the training that we have done in our former case also concentrated on this issue as to who you can provide assistance to and what paperwork needs to be filled out when in fact you do. And again, we have redoubled our efforts to make sure that each and every poll worker understands that in coffee.
Okay. Any questions from Ms. Herzog?
And just for the minutes, I apologize, I don't have a copy for you all. I just got this morning, but this is a letter that Mr. Charles Wood sent with Mr. Peavy to provide for your minutes. And it basically, I'll be glad to read it into the record. It explains that he has assisted his wife, and there was no malice or ill intent, but I'll be glad to read it if you would like.
We can,
Or I'll just add it to the minutes.
yeah, we can accept that letter if you want to make a copy of it. So we have a motion to accept the document.
So moved.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries and we've accepted the document. All right, any questions from Ms. Herzog?
How many of these, other than Mr. Wood, were relatives assisted?
Can you all speak to that? I'm not sure that I know the answer to that right offhand. I may can look back through, I don't know if the investigative report provided that information or not.
I can answer that question.
What was it? I didn't understand the question. Yeah.
How many, I'm wanting to know, other than Woods, how many of these assistance cases involve family members?
Okay, I'm Investigator Glenn Archie with the Georgia Secretary of State's office. I investigated this case. There was one other person that assisted his daughter when she voted during advance voting.
Was she in some way disabled?
His name, no, sir, she was not disabled, she was not illiterate. He assisted her because it was her first time voting, and he helped her go through using the touch screen during advance voting. But she was neither disabled or illiterate.
They allow two people to the touch screen?
Yes, sir, her and her father. He did sign the application for absentee ballot during advance voting that he was assisting her. It was not marked on the bottom of the application why he was assisting her, but he was still allowed to assist her.
Who touched the touch screen?
She did.
All right, anything else for Mr. Archie? All right, anything else for Ms. Herzog? Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name
at 614 Taylor Circle, Douglas, Georgia. I am one of the respondents of the allegations regarding this case. And according to the letter that I received from Mr. Russell Lewis, it states that I did, as an elector, violate OCGA 21-2-409A, assisting electors who cannot read English or have disabilities, 2 counts, in that I assisted Evelyn Ross and Anthony Harrison, who were not physically disabled or illiterate during the general election on November 6, 2012. So I would like to respond to that allegation. I do, in fact, recall assisting Miss Evelyn Ross. She is my aunt. She has difficulty seeing, and she did not know how to operate the machine. Now, I do not have recollection about a Miss Anthony Harrison, but I can say that if I assisted anyone, I did not touch the screen, and if I helped, they asked me to help them. I didn't volunteer my service. So if someone asked me, will you show me how, then I would have done that. I will also add that, according to what I read on the OCGA statute, it says that no elector shall receive any assistance in voting unless he or she is unable to read the English language, or he or she has a disability which renders him or her unable to see or mark the ballot or operate the voting equipment, or to enter the voting compartment or booth without assistance. So my response is, if someone asked me for help, I felt an obligation to try to assist if I could, but at no time have I ever touched the screen or told them who to vote for. I would only read out to them what the screen says or whatever, and give them an option as to how they would want to proceed. Now, I do want to state while I'm up here, I have tried to represent the citizens of Douglas, Coffee County for 16 years. At no time at this election right here that we're referring to was I a candidate that was running for office. I do serve as an elected official, as a city council person, but that was not the election in which I assisted. It was the federal election, if I'm not mistaken. I feel that, I don't know why Mr. Peavy made this complaint, because the letter clearly states that the complaint was filed by Mr. C.T. Peavy, the chairman. I wish that I had been given an opportunity for him to ask me a question about why I was assisting someone prior to filing a complaint. Douglas is a small town community, and a lot of us, we do know each other, so he's well aware of me, and he knows I'm very involved in the community. I just think that, as some people have stated here earlier, I feel that sometimes things are done to try to maybe disencourage or whatever other people from voting, and I don't feel like that is fair. I feel like everybody who wants an opportunity to vote, if they are a registered voter, they should be provided that opportunity. So I can say to you all, I know that I have not done anything wrong. I was really offended when I received this letter saying that I had violated the law some kind of way. I really took strong offense to that, because that's really hurting to me, when being an elected official, trying to do the best that I can to try to help our community to move forward and grow. I feel like I needed to come here and state my position about what that letter said.
Ms. Pearson, thank you for being here. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember where you were when when these allegations were going on? Was it during early voting in your precinct, or?
Honestly, I can't recall if it was early voting or regular. I really can't. I just remember that my aunt one day was walking, and she wanted me to give her a ride. She saw me, and I was giving her a ride, and I asked her, I said, have you voted? And she was like, no, I haven't voted. I said, do you want to vote? She said, yeah, but you'll have to help me.
I remember that with her. Other than that, and the other person, I really honestly do not recall.
So do you recall a poll worker, poll manager saying anything to you when you were doing the system?
No, sir. No, sir. Nobody said anything. That, when I would go to the table with that person, I remember them asking, "You're helping this person?" And I say, "Yes, ma'am," or "Yes, sir." And I had already signed, because you have to sign your name, and whatever they might have had an issue with, because some people cannot read or write fluently the English language. They have problems reading. So if it was illiterate, they would check that. Or, I would check that, or the poll worker would check it, and if it was a physical disability, they would check that, because I believe with my aunt, with her not being able to see well, she did the physical disability.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions, Ms. Pearson? All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter?
My name is James Curtis Hicks. I stay at 1353 Edgewood Avenue, Douglas, Georgia. Containing the same matter about voting for rent or something to that amount. I have folk counts they say, but I have cared hundreds of people, and I take my voting right very seriously. Such as my colleague that I do to help my community. And for us, when I'm saying helping people, yes, I come in and help some people that didn't know that. They have no idea about how to run the machine. But I never once touched it, advised them on how to vote or anything such as that. No more than assisting them in how to use the machine. And one time, I think Miss Misty come out herself and told me that, "Mr. Hicks, you're not allowed to do that. That's our job." I said, "Well, no problem. I have no problem." So that was doing early voting. And I know for a fact that the people that I did help, they can read, they can write. I'm not denying that. But they had never, some of them had never voted in years. Some of them had never used the machine. So they asked me to help them to use the machine, show them how to use the machine. At that particular time, it wasn't nobody really in the voting office, but two people. That was one taking the card, one taking information, the other giving you the card there. And wasn't no one in there to assist it until Miss Misty walked out. And that's when she personally told me that was her job, the voting people's job, to assist people in using the machine. But as we just heard the word what the law said, so I'm wondering what that right or wrong. If someone asks for your help, if I'm guilty, I'm guilty of helping somebody that asks me. And I'm not nothing. Like I told the investigator, yes, these people can read or write, but the question was, my thing was, do they know how to use the machine? Everybody's not computer savvy. That's my whole thing. I didn't touch it. I didn't violate it. I didn't ask them who to vote for. I never once told anything. No more than what to do with the machine. And that's why I'm here. As far as I can understand, I know I haven't. I might make this picture. I'm very offended about being here. I have brought hundreds of people up there to the vote. So for me to get count with 4 counts, then I don't brought hundreds of people up there. So that it wasn't no intended to deceive the board or deceive anybody or break the law in any kind of way.
All right, Mr. G.B.R. has a question for you.
Mr. Hicks, I obviously have an interest in family members being able to help, and that's not the law yet. So, but I do want to ask, since it doesn't impact this case, but was Samuel Reed a family member?
No, Samuel Reed is a very good friend.
Sharon Adams?
I don't really know her.
Is she a family member?
No.
Audrey Hodge?
No.
Nakita Falcon?
No.
Not family?
No.
No. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Hicks? All right, thanks, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? So, Investigator Archie, I got a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, do we have any documentation about signing for assisting? How does that work? If somebody is legally assisting in the polling location? Is there a document they have to sign?
I know on the voter certificate, the poll worker is supposed to mark the front of it, the reason why the person's being assisted. The person, of course, that assists them signs the back of the voter certificate. Okay. Now, of course, during early voting, the application for an absentee ballot is done, and of course, the person assisting signs the bottom, and they're supposed to mark the reason why they're assisting on the bottom of that.
So is that done on all these cases?
We do have the signatures of the parties when they assisted these people. They did sign that they were assisting them, but voter certificates involving Miss Olivia Pearson when she assisted Miss Ross and Miss Harrison, the poll worker did not mark the reason why they were being assisted. Now, Mr. Reed, was it Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Reed, the people he assisted, they were done during advance voting. He signed the application that he was assisting them, but he failed to mark the reason why. So I did interview those parties and find out why they needed assistance.
So there should be a check there by the poll workers.
Yes, sir, on the voter certificate.
To figure out whether this should be a case of assisting or not.
Yes, sir. And that was not done.
That was not done.
Not on the two with Miss Pearson when she assisted Miss Ross and Miss Harrison on election day.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Archie? All right.
Misty Hayes, election supervisor of Coffee County, 830 Dennis Harper Road, Ambrose, Georgia. Just a little correction on the absentee ballot applications for advance voting. Those are different than the voter certificates on election day. On advance voting, the voter themselves or the person assisting are the ones that sign and check, and then election day is the ones that the poll worker checks.
Okay. Maybe you can help me. I'm trying to understand how this went down when this was going on. So if they were not legally assisting, then how would they have gotten through to actually assist in the vote? They shouldn't have been.
At the time that they were assisting, we did not know that they were, one mistake was they were not checking the application as well during advance voting as should have been.
When you say that, you're talking about the poll?
The poll workers, yes, because it is the right of or it's the responsibility of the voter and the assisted voter to check on the absentee ballot applications for advance voting or advance voting in person applications. So that's where that mistake was. But it is left to the voter themselves or the assisted voter to sign those applications during advance voting.
So did you have any of these folks that were alleged to have assisted that continued to try to do that after you told them not to?
Yes, sir.
You did. Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Haynes? All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I live in the same county, see.
You could just give us your name.
Roscoe Allen. I live at 765 East Mercer Road in Douglas, Georgia. I live in the same county. Let me tell you something. I help a lot of people too, but what I'm hearing here concerning this board of elections, that's what the problem for me. I'm saying, if this don't get correct, we're gonna have the same problem.
Let me just caution you real quick. If you have something that pertains specifically to the case, we're glad to hear it, but, we're dealing with specific allegations on this matter. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with the local board of elections. This board doesn't decide who served on the county board of elections, so if you would.
I'm saying that they need to get qualified people to know what they're doing. That's what I'm talking about. You won't have this problem.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, and I will just, for the record, the local community decides how they pick their local board of elections. The state election board does not have any say-so in that matter. Ms. Pearson, did you have something else?
Yes, sir, one additional thing, thank you, Olivia Pearson, 614 Taylor Circle, Douglas, Georgia. Yes, sir, I can say that I recall any time that I have helped someone to vote or assisted them, that they have, Mrs. Hayes and Ms. Foskey, because I specifically remember for 2012, Foskey was in charge then,
and they had voter, assistant a voter, they had a red card or something that you would get to let whomever know that you were helping someone to vote. So I recall that. So anytime I help someone, that's what I had that card, having permission to give someone some assistance.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Pierce? All right,
Thank you.
My name is James Curtis Hicks, stay at 1353 Edgewood Avenue, Douglas, Georgia. And I also recall the same thing during the voting thing. We had cars to go back, red cars to go back there. And I'll repeat again, Ms. Misty made a comment that maybe it's someone that she told that continue to do it. I know for a fact I wasn't one of them. I know I'm one that she helped. She definitely told that was her job, and I definitely didn't do it anymore because I didn't know. But I was thinking anytime you assist someone, that's what the thing was. But I just want to put that on record about the card that I was legally behind it, that the poll worker let me back there to assist the people. Thank you.
anyone else wishing to speak? All right, thank you. Anyone else? Any other discussion from the board? Questions for Investigator Archie, Mr. Lewis? Got a motion?
I move we bind it over.
All right, Mr. McGuire, moves we bind over. We have a second. I'll second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries, and we bound that over to the Attorney General's office.
All hearts and minds clear? Excuse me. Good already, Mr. Pierce?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good.
Taylor? Yes, sir. Darren? Frank?
Good? All right, everybody please, again, please physically, pull out your phone and check, make sure it's on silent or vibrate. I should be good. I've already talked to my mom and my dad's over there, or was over there. I don't know where he went. All right, we're good. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the City of Douglas Mayor and Commission meeting. This will serve as our regular meeting for August the 26th, 2019. The next thing on the agenda is the invocation. Commissioner Edwin Taylor had those honors. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Go ahead and say, Mayor. At this time, we will call Ms. Wanda to come and do the invocation for us at this time.
Let us bow our heads. Dear Heavenly, most gracious God, Lord, we just thank you, God. God, we ask you right now that if we said or done anything, God, that's not pleasing to you, God. God, that you give us a clean and pure heart, God. God, I ask you that you come into this commission meeting, God, that not our will be done, God, but your will be done upon this community, God. God, we thank you, God, for loving us. We thank you for your grace, and we thank you for your mercy. And God, we ask you right now to touch each and every person here, God, that they may see you in everything that they do. We love you, God, and we glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Next on the agenda, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and as always, we'll be led by the Coffee County Navy Junior ROTC. Tonight, we have Lieutenant Junior Grade Marino. If you would, please stand and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda items. Excuse me. And as always, we'll turn that over to the city manager, and he will read off the items that were placed on the consent agenda.
Mayor and council, we have 7 items coming over on the consent agenda. The items are as read. Item 1, approval of the August 12, 2019 minutes. Item 2, approval of the City of Douglas elections agreement. Item 3, approval of the FY20 roof repair at the historic World War II flat training base. Item 4, approval of the consultant agreement for the downtown pocket park. Item 5, approval of authorization to file a grant application with the Georgia Council for the Arts. Item 6, approval of the fee waiver for the use of the gym by the Department of Labor's job fair. Item 7, approval of the loan modification, the GEFA loan modification concerning the completion dates. Those are the 7 items being brought over on the consent agenda.
At this time, I entertain a motion for the,
So moved.
it's been motion
Second.
and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is work session items brought forward for discussion. Again, we'll turn that over to our city manager.
We have 3 items coming over on, to be brought forward by actions, or discussion and actions tonight. The first item will be item 8, tab G from your work session. This is discussed the surplusing and donating of the old police cars to the Coffee County Board of Education. As discussed in the work session, we have some cars that's time to go up on, to be taken out of our fleet because they're wore out as far as patrol cars. The school, board has started their new police security force. They don't have need for patrolling vehicles, they need show of force vehicles on the premises. And so we have 4 or 5 cars, whichever y'all decide on, to be donated if y'all so approve. Dr. Lees has submitted a request that we donate those cars. And like I said, as we discussed in the work session, this is not strange that we donate things back and forth to each other. But I'm here tonight to ask y'all's permission, if it's so be, to surplus those vehicles and donate them to the school board.
Commissioner Taylor, I do believe that was your department.
I'm all for that.
You for it?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Durham?
To see how much we could get, but what for it though.
See how much we could get. Hold on, look right there. What about, you wanna donate? Donate. Give me a second. Donate.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm okay to donate to help our school stay safe.
Commissioner Pierce?
I'm in favor of seeing what amount of monies they would be willing to, give us for each one of the cars, because I'm really kind of, puzzled and concerned with the city attorney. I know sometimes we say that the city cannot give away stuff. That's the purpose for having those e-gov sales or whatever.
Yeah, you can't give away taxpayer property, but if it's another local government, you can, exchange property like the school board exchange, you donate property to us, we can donate property to the school board. It would be legal.
Commissioner Moore?
Commissioner McNeil?
Yes, I'm very much in favor of donating.
Donate?
Yes, sir.
That's 4-2. Donate.
So with that being said, if they're gonna donate, would you get us to see what they're gonna donate towards that? I mean, if we exchange, okay.
Donate towards it.
Yeah, they're gonna just give it to them.
I need to make a motion.
Okay. Somebody make a motion?
Commissioner Taylor, I think it's,
Yes.
it's his.
I'll motion that we donate is it 4 or 5 cars? 5 cars to the school board
I second.
for safety.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries.
Next item coming over to item 9, first reading to be held of the 2019 millage tax ordinance, Jerome Adams.
I'm here to recommend the mayor and Commission allow the first reading of proposed 2019 tax ordinance. Each year, the city of Douglas is required to set the tax and millage by ordinance. As required by state law, a 5-year history of the city's property tax digest and levy and a notice of public hearing on the attached ordinance was published in the Douglas Enterprise August 22nd, 2019, and will run again August 29, 2019. The proposed tax ordinance should be read for the first time this evening. The public hearing, as required by law, is scheduled for 7 p.m. Monday, September the 9th, 2019. Following the public hearing, the ordinance will be presented for action. This ordinance sets the net millage rate at 7.387 mils for the city and 1 mil for the industrial authority for a total of 8.387 mils.
Well, I do have somewhat of a cold. I think I may have gotten that. I went out to California last week. Thursday night, I went to Rose Bowl Stadium.
Sounds like somebody bragging.
And watched the Rolling Stones.
What?
Yes, sir, Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger is 76 years old. He ran around on the stage for 2.5 hours. So I think we need to hook Commissioner Moore up with Mick Jagger.
A long way around to get a punch in. But it's all right.
This will be an ordinance of the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the City of Douglas, Georgia, proposed for the levy and the tax upon all taxable property within the City of Douglas, subject to taxation under the law of the State of Georgia and the ordinance of the City of Douglas for calendar year 2019 and for all purposes, subject to all provisions hereof being ordained by the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the City of Douglas, Georgia, in session assembled and is hereby levied aggregation 13.9 mils upon all taxable property of the real and personal within the city limits of Douglas, Georgia, subject to taxation under the law of the State of Georgia, ordinances of the City of Douglas as reported by the Board of Assessors for municipal taxes in said city and due to legal form levied in proportion as follows to wit. Ad valorem tax millage equivalency 13.9 mils, less sales tax millage equivalent 5.5 mils. Total 2019 City of Douglas tax millage 8.3 mils, less 2019 Industrial Authority millage 1 mil. Net City of Douglas 2019 ad valorem tax millage rate 7.3 mils. Bill ordained by the authority before said that the taxes assessed as hereby provided be collected by the duly elected tax commissioner for Crawford County, who has entered into an agreement with the City of Douglas for collecting municipal taxes on before the first day of December. The duly elected tax commissioner shall keep the records open from the first day of September 2019 until the first day of December 2019. And after such date, said tax commissioner shall then proceed to issue tax executions for all due unpaid taxes due to the City of Douglas, Georgia for the year 2019. Be it further ordained that the City of Douglas does authorize the tax commissioner of Crawford County to bill and collect the 1 mil for the Douglas Crawford County Industrial Authority and to remit said taxes directly to the Douglas Crawford County Industrial Authority. Introduced and read for the first time at a regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the City of Douglas, Georgia on August 26, 2019. And we'll have a public hearing and a second reading on September the 9th.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, thank you, Mr. Moore.
Next item, item 10, FY19 budget amendment, Tommy Harrell.
This is to seek approval of amending of the FY19 City of Douglas budget to reflect changes that have occurred since the adoption of that FY19 budget on June 11th, 2018. The requested amending has to do with the special revenue funds. We are spending less $18,344,117 than was budgeted. So we're amending the total revenue funds from $27,387,404 to $9,043,307. And this will reduce the total budget for FY19 from $102,558,549 to $84,214,432.
Good.
That's a total difference of how many, Mr. Harrell?
It's a total difference of 27 budget from 27.
Approximately 7 million or so.
It's approximately 20 million. Yeah, approximately 20 million. And the reason for the reduction in spending has to do with our all the buildings that we have in plan for the recreation parks complex that we're doing, the new swimming pool, the special, park, all those, we're behind in what we had anticipated we would be at this point. And so that's why we didn't spend it in FY19.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Pierce?
No, that's all I have.
So I'm recommending that the mayor and commission adopt a resolution to amend the FY19 budget to reflect the changes in these revenues and expenditures.
At this time, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been motion. Any seconds?
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion. Say again?
Opposed?
Opposed?
Yeah.
Motion carries.
I've got to get, as I requested already, my copy of the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Those are all the items from the work session.
Next on the agenda, we have staff comments. Ms. Henderson, you have comments?
Just a few.
Thank you.
Just wanna say that the city of Douglas will be closed on September 2nd in observance of the Labor Day holiday. The next residential drop off will be on Saturday, September the 7th from 8:30 to 12 noon at the Pole Yard. We are still seeking volunteers to serve on some of the boards, that we have vacancy seats. Some of the current ones is the Ethics Committee, the Library Board, and also the, Airport Commission. Anyone would like to volunteer, they can go to our website, download the volunteer form, and sign up. There's some job vacancies and bid, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, will you please report those, board vacancies one more time for me?
Yes, ma'am, the Ethics Committee, the Library Board, and the Airport Commission.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, those are the current ones that we're publicizing.
Okay.
As I was saying, there are some job opportunities out there, also some bid, opportunities. They can go to our website if anyone is interested to, sign up and, receive the bid information or, notifications through the Notify Me module. Those are all the announcements that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have the, mayor and commission comments. We're gonna start with, Ms. McNeil, and move to my left, and then I'll pick up with Mr. Taylor and move to my right.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. As many of you know, we had a busy week this past week with qualifying taking place for the upcoming election, for the November 5th election. And I want to say a few things about that, Mayor, if I might. I think we have got a lot of good things going on in this community. So many wonderful things, and I'm afraid as a result of some of our commission meetings and some of our, some folks' opinions of Douglas and Coffee County, we may have folks who see the glass half full. And I'm a commissioner who sees it, they see it half empty. I'm a commissioner who sees it half full. In fact, I see it 3/4 full. In fact, I think our cups are just about running over with good stuff. And I want to highlight a few of those tonight, because going into this next election, many of us here are up for re-election, and we seek this office to continue those things, to continue with that. It's funny because many of us, when you're first starting out in politics, you run, if you're like me, you ran because you thought there were some things you wanted to do, you wanted to accomplish, some things that you thought you could bring to the table. This time around, I believe in the community, and I believe strongly in the people, the support people of this city, and the support groups that are here, the volunteer groups, the folks who are doing a great job. And I want to help support them and give them the resources, give them what they need to help them do their job. And I just want to say a few things. I've worked as a city employee here, and I support the department heads. Oftentimes, if I seem more complacent than some others, it's because I know what they do. I've been in the trenches with them, and I know what they do. And I know they're hardworking, they're dedicated, ladies and gentlemen, these department heads. We oftentimes give them the responsibility, but we kind of want to take it back or whatever. And they're listening to 6 or 7 bosses or 8 bosses or whatever, including the city manager. So I want to say I commend them on the job they do most often. And, I'll typically side with them if I can and support them if I possibly can. I want to say that I serve as chairman of the Land Bank Authority, and I've gotten to know Georgia Henderson. I've gotten to know many, many people in Douglas and Coffee County through that, and that's going to be a wonderful project. It's just been kicked off this year. They started it 2016, tried to get it going then, but we've got a great committee this time. We're going to try to help out with some blighted properties, get some things back on the tax digest, and doing some really good things there. Ms. Henderson, several folks have been involved with something called First Friday. First Friday is taken off this year. We went to Thomasville, we brought that idea back to Douglas. That's a good thing. Again, we can't take all the credit for that. There's so many people within the city who've helped with that. And, those are things we need to keep up and running. Some of us again here ran unopposed, so we didn't have the opportunity to get out and get to know the people in our wards like we might have liked to do. Now with some opposition, I look forward to that. I'm excited about that, and I want to encourage people to call me. I get just as many calls from Commissioner Moore's constituents who may think they're in my ward or somebody else's constituents for help, and I'm always glad to help anybody. I think I've done that just as much as I could throughout the past 4 years. I've worked very diligently. I've attended all the meetings here, the work sessions here, the training sessions, and tried to be a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars. I hope I've done that. And I think that we have so many good things, and I hope that we can learn to appreciate that, build on it, and go forward with a good positive election. I'm looking forward to I think this will help get the voters out for the tax allocation district vote, and I think I encourage everybody to get out and make their voice heard. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Moore, if you would, let me interject, American Legion Post 515. I forgot them. Did not mean to overlook. That's my bad.
There's some of the good folks I'm talking about.
It's okay.
They're great.
My bad.
Army. Good evening. My name is Commander Al Walker with American Legion Post 515. This evening, my cohort and I are here to talk about some of the events that we have. First of all, we'd like to invite you to our September 11th Remembrance Ceremony. We are in collaboration with Citizens Christian Academy, their CCA's Leo Club, Coffee High School, NJROTC, and Hardee's. And it's going to be at the CCA Gymnasium, September the 11th, from 8:30 to 9:30. And there is no cost, and we're just asking everybody to come along and just look to see how our Coffee Countyans in Douglas relate to September 11th, because that was a major event in our history. We're also celebrating our American Legion Centennial, and with the help of the Heritage Station Museum, starting on September 16th from 10 to noon, we have a program that's going to be there. What I failed to mention before, the display that we have with American Legion paraphernalia is going to be in the museum up until Veterans Day, November the 11th. So if you're not able to join us on that day, then you get the kids and everybody else out and just go over to the museum to see. So we are inviting all of you, Mayor, City Commissioners, Douglas, Coffee Countyans, everybody to come and join us, because this is how we show our patriotism. Now,
I'm Jerome Loving, and I got to bring to you Reefs Across America. We've been doing it since 2014, and this year's slogan, everyone plays a part. We need everyone to play a part. There are family members, there are churches, there are businesses, there are organizations, there are banks. Everyone can contribute, because to continue the mission of the Reef Across America, remember, honor, teach, we need donations. Reef costs $15. We're talking about remember those veterans that fought and died for the freedom we have. Honor those veterans that continue to serve in their families, because we're free because of them. But our task is teach the young, teach the children about sacrifices made for the freedom we have. So we'll need a donation to do that. A ceremony is December the 14th at the G.B.R Center, way down the road, but come support us. And with 501c, everything we get comes from donations, it goes back to our community. So we do fundraisers, we have one going now, a raffle, You need tickets, see Facebook, call me, and I'll get them to you. And, we thank you for the support you've given us all this time. Yes, sir.
There you go.
And our very last thing is, through legislation, a law that was passed by President Trump in coordination with the National American Legion Commander, now any veteran serving from December 7th, 1941 up until now, currently serving, as long as they have an honorable or under honorable conditions discharge, can now apply to join an American Legion post. So we're encouraging all the veterans, if they want to join us, so we can continue these efforts and stuff in Coffee County and surrounding counties, that you come and apply, and then we'll go ahead and see. But as of now, you can apply to join the American Legion, which will make us more than the 2 million strong that we already have. Thank you.
Wrong.
Thank you all.
What about that PA
Thank you
for
for your
veterans?
service.
You know, that they didn't brought in law that veterans can sign, go to the PAs. They brought that in a couple of months ago, that they can go to the PA. They just can't.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Thank
Presentation tonight, so we want to emphasize the points we made, and we'll move forward.
And we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for yielding, Commissioner Moore. Commissioner Moore, your comments?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to serve again on the commission, my 27th year. And I appreciate, most of all, running without opposition. And continue to help serve the people and spend the best tax dollars we can spend in the city of Douglas. And as Douglas will continue to grow and prosper and be a home for folks, grandyoungins and great-grandyoungins, and I got some of all of them. Thank you for the employees and what they do and what they contribute to the city of Douglas. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Pearson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to first of all, give honor to God for this day. Just honor each and every one of you here in your respective places. It's good to see a full house tonight. First and foremost, I want to once again ask our city manager, is there an executive session scheduled for tonight? Okay. So, there's not. So that brings me to this point, being that there is no executive session scheduled for tonight, and I've been asking about one for almost 3 months now, I think, right after June Savannah trip, I think. But anyway, are you aware that you can schedule executive sessions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then when are you planning to give us some information in executive session concerning the recent events that's gone on here in the city of Douglas with employees?
I mean, everything's been shared except for the current investigation that the agency's looking for, and they should be through with that within the next week or two. But anyway, I'm assuming they'll be through.
And you think they'll be through within the next, what you said?
Couple weeks, yes, ma'am. But it's on their timetable.
Right, okay. And you remember at the last meeting, you said to me that, you were sworn to secrecy about whatever. So you didn't ever share that email with me, right?
I sent them the letter that you requested, and I have not heard back from them.
No, you told me, you said I can show you the email.
That I sent to them asking for a letter, yes, ma'am. No, I can't.
You said you could show me the email, what they were telling you were not to share this
I
information.
said I could share the email with you that I'm gonna request them, but no, that was in their office. There was no email. I mean, that was in their office.
Okay, so did you share the letter you sent to them with me?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I said I could share it. You haven't asked for that. I mean, I can give you a copy
At
of
the
that.
last meeting, I had concerns about them telling you you could not share information
Right.
with us. So therefore, if you went ahead and sent them a letter regarding my concerns, you should have forwarded me a copy of that letter that you sent.
I mean, if you're asking me for the request, I mean, I will give you a copy of that, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
but it was my understanding, you said at last meeting, you could show me email that you had got from them regarding the secrecy. But anyway, so I understand that some other employees have spoken with, the G.B.R. and they have not been told that they could not, that they were to be held, their information in secrecy.
I can't speak for them, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was summoned to the office,
Okay, you went out to their office?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So just tell me, you don't think that this information should have came to mayor and council in private with us discussing what questions
I
and
mean,
answers? Not what they're still working on, the other information where, matter of fact, the G.B.R. was not even involved in one of the employees' situations.
Right, I mean, everything's been shared with you via email, I mean, there's nothing that would be discussed in the executive session that wasn't aired out in the email, so I mean, that's,
Okay. I don't care to receive information such as that over email. I don't. Information like that, I want to have a sit down, so that if I have questions, I can have an opportunity to ask those questions and get answers. Okay?
yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. The next thing that I have is that we are all aware that this past, what is that sound? It's hurting my ears. Is it me?
We got it down.
Okay, that's it. All right, thank you. This past week, all of the elected officials sitting here, we had the opportunity to qualify for the upcoming election, which is going to be the final day for the election is November the 5th. And I heard Commissioner McNeil state that, you know, she was unopposed last time when she ran, so she didn't get a chance to meet the people, but and I can say this because out of 20 years, I'm experienced to this, and I had some training in college and this, that, and the other, but you know, you don't go out and meet people just because you have opposition. You need to make these visits to people whether you have opposition or not, whether there's an election or not. If your heart and soul is really into the people, trying to be their servants, you would take this responsibility on. Just the day before I got ready to come to this meeting, I got a call from someone who was having problems with some police. Something happened with the police. So before I could get dressed to come to the meeting, I went down to try to find out what was going on, checking on this mom and her children or whatever. So the chief came because Commissioner Durham had called him, and he was able to come also. But I just want to say to the citizens of Douglas, you know, with this election coming up, and a lot of you have been here to see what has gone on in the past, and we have had some real troubled times, and there's no need to pretend like we have not. There's no need to pretend that everything has been hunky-dory, because it has not. But I said to you all in the past that whomever you choose to elect, you be very careful about it, because these are the people that's going to make the decisions for you. Whether they're going to be nonchalant and don't really care about you or whatever. But I can truly say, and I thank God I am unopposed. Ever since I won, I've been unopposed. So that says to me that my constituents feels like that I'm doing a fairly well job. So I thank you all, District 3, for allowing me to represent you, to serve you. And whenever you call me, whenever I can, I come and see about you. So again, I thank you. But this is a serious task here. Sitting up here is a serious task. And I don't take it lightly, because we have people's livelihoods in our hands. When folks have high, ridiculous utility bills, $700, $800, $900 bills, we could act like we don't care and tell them pay it the best way they can, or we can try to come up with a plan to help them out. Like I proposed years ago, because when I first came on this council, people were complaining about these high utility bills. So we came up, I served on the utility committee with Ms. Juanetta and several other employees, and we came up with the payment plan. Now I'm hearing the payment plan is not being quite as effective as we had hoped for it to be. So if it's not, we're gonna have to try to come up with something else. Because when you sit in this seat, you've got to have, first of all, the love of God in your heart, and second of all, love for humankind. So if you don't, I put a post on Facebook the other day, if you want to get up here in this seat and keep your mouth shut and not represent the people, not try to make things better for people, then you need to stay home. And I'm so serious about that. I am very, very serious about that, because I am passionate about people and people being treated fairly. Everybody should be treated fairly and with respect. And some people, I think, get up here just to get the amount of money that you get per month, or just to go on the trips. I don't know. But if your heart is not in it, to the citizens of Douglas, Georgia, be careful who you mark that box by their name when you go to vote. And what you do, you look at their past. See how they've served the people and represented the people. And if they have not done that, please don't vote for them. Because I've said it on Facebook the other week, this is the worst administration I have ever served on or served with.
100%.
The worst. And I put that on everything. I put it on everything. I tell you, and it's sad. It's sad because I can say this, to have a majority African American commission and to have the strife, the hatred, the lies, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. As I stated in the work session earlier, there was something sent out this morning that was a blatant lie. And it said, a blatant lie about me. And God knows, I don't know, like I told Commissioner Moore during the break, I don't know why some of my fellow commissioners seem to have a problem with me. I guess it's because I speak my piece, I don't bite my tongue, and I tell them how I feel. And that's what I want them to do with me. When we talk, tell me what you feel, what you think, or whatever. I can respect a person for telling me how they truly feel, as opposed to somebody lying to me in my face and saying something different behind my back. And lastly, Mr. Preston, you sitting over there smiling, and you should be, because you keep up the most mess in the city of Douglas that I have ever seen. The most mess. You keep this community divided based on racial lines. It's time out for your mess. And the citizens of Douglas need to see you for who you really are. And I'm addressing you here and now, because you won't give me an opportunity to talk with you face to face. You won't consult with me about anything. But you go to your little, wherever you go, your house or wherever, and then you make your comments. And all those comments you made over the past weekend after qualification on Friday were so nasty, saying about Tony Park is our guy. The white folks can put Tony Park in, all that kind of mess. And you spoke about myself and Commissioner Durham trying to put enmity between white folks and between myself and him, trying to already put salt in the game against my nephew. You didn't bother to mention that Rodney Johnson, who is running against Commissioner Durham, you didn't bother to mention that that's the mayor's nephew. But you want to say about who my nephew is that's running for mayor, Terrence Coley. Well, to the people of Douglas, let me say to you, you judge Terrence Coley on his own worth.
That's right.
homestand for Trojan fans. Now, let's talk about city elections a little bit. There are a few other things that we need to get to. I'm not sure that we will. Let me try to block that sun coming in. Today, qualifying ended for the city elections in Douglas and also the city elections in Broxton. And we've had some intrigue. We've had a lot of political maneuverings going on behind the scenes. A lot of crazy stuff has happened with regard to these elections. And those of you who follow what's happened with the city over the last year or so, you know that there's been a lot of mess that's going on with the city. The mess will continue to go on at least through the rest of the year. And we'll see what happens. There could be some changes on the city commission. There could be some changes with the mayor's seat. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But the first thing I want to mention is that our good buddy Roscoe Allen allegedly caused a few problems today at City Hall. The police were called around late this morning. I don't know exactly what time. Qualifying ended at 12 o'clock. Mr. Allen had gone up there apparently to watch and observe the end of the qualifying session. And for whatever reason, I don't know exactly what problems were caused, but something happened. And the city clerk asked Mr. Allen to leave. And Mr. Allen didn't want to leave. And again, the information I had, as I understand, he caused some problems inside City Hall, and they ended up calling the police. And before the police got there, they were able to get Mr. Allen out into the hall, where he went into a room with Olivia Pearson, who was also up there, and they shut the door and had a meeting. So that's what happened at City Hall today. No charges were filed, but again, Mr. Allen continues to make a name for himself in all the wrong ways. But that happened today at City Hall. So, just in case you hear any rumblings or not, you heard it here first. Douglas city elections. Who qualified? What's interesting about the city elections, the sun is setting here to my right, so I'm trying to get the phone angled where you can, where the sun is not shining in over my shoulder. We don't see that glare. Everybody on the city commission is up for re-election. The mayor, all the commissioners, everybody, all 7 of them, up for election, re-election. So theoretically, you could have a wholesale sweep and have brand new commissioners everywhere. Okay, that's not going to be the case because there are a couple who don't have opposition, but there are a lot of races that do have opposition. So, and there's been, again, a lot of maneuverings around that. So let's go through the list and see who's qualified. First of all, for mayor, of course, incumbent Tony Paul has qualified. He's going to run again. But he has opposition from 2 other individuals. Kevin Carver, who lives in Douglas, lives on the corner of Cellar Street and Gaskin Avenue. North Gaskin Avenue, has qualified to run for mayor. Also, Terrence Coley, who is a nephew or a cousin, I believe, to Olivia Pearson, or Olivia's maiden name is Coley, Olivia Coley Pearson. So, Terrence Coley, a relative of Commissioner Pearson, is going to run for mayor as well. In Ward 1, Edwin Taylor, the incumbent, is running. He's going to have opposition from James L. Perry. In Ward 2, Commissioner Durham, of course, is the incumbent. He qualified to run. Also, Rodney Johnson, son of the late Ronnie Johnson, who was a longtime school board member, is going to run. And also, and I believe I'm saying this name right, Michaela Brockington is going to run in Ward 2 as well. Ward 4 is Mike Gowan. He's running unopposed. Ward 6, Bob Moore. He's running unopposed. And also Ward 3, we skipped that. Ward 3 is Commissioner Pearson. She's running unopposed. Ward 5, Cindy Menil, the incumbent, has qualified to run. So has former Ward 5 City Commissioner Ronnie Anderson. Now, if you follow this kind of stuff, you know that 4 years ago, Mr. Anderson stepped down, decided not to run. Now, 4 years later, Mr. Anderson has come back and thrown his hat in the ring and qualified to run against Ms. McNeil. So, Mayor has opposition, Ward 1 has opposition, Ward 2 has opposition, and Ward 5 has opposition. So, that's the political situation right now in the city. Now, the elections are in November. You could have a runoff in Ward 2, you could have a runoff in the mayor's election. Now, what's interesting here, and it's kind of funny with Terrence Coley's candidacy for mayor, the word that has been circulating, kind of rumors on the street for the last, I don't know, most of the year, is that there would be opposition for mayor from either Commissioner Pearson or Commissioner Durham. They were trying to figure out who was going to run and what was going to happen and all that. The problem, though, for them is in order to run for mayor, you have to give up your commission seat. And neither one of them were willing to give up their seat. And in fact, when we've seen city commissioners give up their seats to run for mayor, it hasn't worked out very well for them. I know Commissioner Anderson did it against Max Lockwood many years ago. He was unsuccessful in his bid for mayor. Commissioner Moore also ran for mayor, was unsuccessful in his bid. And Johnny Lee Roper did it. Commissioner Roper stepped down to run for mayor one time, and he was unsuccessful. Now, all three of those commissioners eventually did run for their old seats and win them back. So, historically speaking, that's what's happened. Step down, run for mayor, lose, 4 years later, run for your seat again, and get it. That's the way it's been. The 3 times that I've encountered this in my career covering these elections. So, Commissioner Durham, Commissioner Pearson didn't want to give up their seats. Now, this is the other little bit of information that's been floating around, was that Commissioner Pearson and Commissioner Durham, whichever one of them decided to run, going to wait till the very last minute to qualify and see if anyone qualified to run against them. If nobody did, whichever one of them was deciding to run now, if nobody qualified to run in their district, then one of them was going to run for mayor. And if they qualified at the right time and didn't give anybody enough time to qualify in their districts, then that district would have, or ward, would have no candidate running in the election. What would happen in that case is after the first of the year, the city would have to hold a special election to fill that seat. And the idea was for them to try to fix it, one of them to try to fix it, where nobody would run against them. They could run for mayor. If they lost, then they would be able to run in the special election in January or February, whenever they would hold it, and then presumably win their seat back. So they could roll the dice and run for mayor. If they lost, still have an opportunity to win their seat back. Now, there are a lot of ifs that have to take place in order for that scenario to work out. One of the biggest ifs, of course, is that nobody runs in their district. So that's where some of these folks have opposition. The Ward 2 seat, for example, I know that Mr. Johnson's candidacy was part of that. He qualifies to run early, then Commissioner Durham has to run for his seat back. He's not going to roll the dice and run for mayor, knowing if he loses the election for mayor, then he's out of a commission seat. And honestly, I think Tony Polk is going to be very difficult to beat for Mr. Coley or for Mr. Carver. Now, he's probably going to end up with a runoff. It'll be interesting to see which 2 candidates are in there, but I guarantee you Mayor Polk is going to be one of them. And, my opinion of Mayor Polk is he's done a good job. I think he's tried to do what's best for the city. And in doing so, he's alienated some people, which is where this opposition comes from. Commissioner Durham, Commissioner Pearson, and some of their supporters are really against Mayor Polk. Really against Mayor Polk. and that's where the assault is coming from. And in a lot of ways, he's being hit from all sides by a lot of people in his community. So, and that's where again, Terrence Cody's candidacy comes in. A relative of Ms. Pearson going to run for mayor. And listen, Ms. Pearson is a polarizing figure. So is Commissioner Durham. Less so than Ms. Pearson, but she is but he is a polarizing figure as well. And neither one of them are going to win a citywide election. It's just not going to happen. I don't think it is. I've not talked to anybody who thinks it's going to happen. They have a constituency and have a following in their wards, but citywide, that's not going to happen. Now, is anybody connected to Ms. Pearson going to win? I think it's going to be very difficult. Again, I think the advantage lies in Mayor Polk's, lies with Mayor Polk. However, you do have to look with two African-American candidates running, what happens if the African-American vote gets split and gets split significantly. The question, of course, is are all the white voters or a majority of white voters going to get behind Mr. Carver, or are they going to support Mayor Polk? I think, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb here at all, but I think that Mayor Polk has a significant amount of support in the white community. And again, because I think people realize that he's trying to do the right thing for the city. He's in a very difficult position a lot of times. And a lot of people don't understand how the battles that he has to fight on a daily basis among his constituency. However, he really is trying to do the right thing, and he is a very different, to me, there's a level of maturity that he has this time around that we didn't see the first time he was mayor. And I always said back then that the ball was in his court to be mayor for as long as he wanted to, and I think it's still the case. Even though he's got opposition, even though we do have the possibility of splitting the African-American vote between two candidates, normally I would say that would be very difficult for an African-American candidate to overcome, but I think Mayor Polk has a significant amount of support in the white community, which is one of the things that his opponents use against him. If he's got support in the white community, it must mean he's doing something wrong. He's pandering to white people. And it's just a bizarre scenario. People can't seem to look beyond that. The funny thing is the very same people who say that we should look beyond race, that we shouldn't worry about color, that we shouldn't let that factor into our decisions, let it factor into their decisions, and still work consciously or subconsciously, I think it's consciously, to continue to drive that wedge and that divide between white and black in the city of Douglas. And that's one of the reasons why these elections are always so contentious and why the tension is always so thick in city commission meetings. Even on a night where there's nothing going on, even when there's nothing happening, there's very much a very tense feeling there. I'm trying to think of the right word and it's escaping me, but it's very tense in those meetings, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Somebody asked, how do you know what ward you live in? You'll have to call City Hall. Also, you can go to the city's website. I looked it up. I was talking about district lines with somebody, I believe it was yesterday, and I just went to I think it was either through the county or city. I don't remember where it was, but I just did a Google search for City of Douglas, Georgia voting districts, and a map came up, and you could look at it, and you could see the map's very easy to follow, find your address, and see where you live, and see who your candidates are. So you can figure it out in a quick search, or call City Hall on Monday morning, and they'll be more than happy to tell you. Call the city manager's office or call the city clerk's office. They'll tell you Charlie's office or Miss Wynette will tell you. Give them the address. So that's how you find out. So anyway, that's where a lot of this is going. I don't know what's happening in Ward 1. I've always thought Edwin Taylor did a good job, but he's got some opposition. And again, you know, the Ward 2 situation, at least with one of those candidates, was to keep Commissioner Durham from running for mayor. There was also a threat, as I understand it, of opposition in Ward 3 should Ms. Pearson decide to run for mayor. Somebody had said that they were going to run against Ms. Pearson and was ready to qualify and run if she decided to run for mayor. So I think that's ultimately why she decided not to, but we're able to find somebody else to run. So again, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, a lot of political maneuvering, a lot of cat and mouse, and none of this is what's best for the city. None of this is what's best. So, you know, we elected people to try and make decisions for the whole community, and they're not doing it. But that happens all the time. It's not immune to Douglas. It happens all over the place. You see it at all levels of government. But it's very troubling in such a small community where everybody knows everybody, and we face so many challenges being in rural Georgia, and this kind of stuff's not helping. It's not helping when you're divided and you're trying to fight over so many things that don't really matter. We should be looking at what we can do to improve the standard of living for everybody, not just picking and choosing who we want to improve and who we want to pander to. And yet that's what we find that we're doing. So anyway, that's what's going on now. Let's take a look at the city of Broxton elections. Broxton will also have elections this year, qualifying into today for them as well. You've got two candidates running for mayor up in Broxton, Dawn Tootin. Now, she's been campaigning for a while. If you're on social media, she's had a lot of stuff that she's posted here in the past few months about running for mayor. But you've got Dawn Tootin, and you also have Charlie McWooten who's going to run for mayor. So, see what happens between Ms. Dawn Tootin and Mr. Charlie McWooten. City Council, you've got 6 candidates running there: David Bradshaw, Ruth Christian, Nancy Jordan, Jimmy Day Littleton, Coach Bill Whidden, former basketball coach, and Carlos Wilkerson. Those are the candidates who are running for City Council in Broxton. So, that's what we'll be voting on this year. City of Douglas elections, and also City of Broxton will be voting as well. Other than that, we don't have any elections. You know, next year, 2020, presidential election, that's when there's going to be a lot on the ballot. Going to be a rather tame election cycle this year. Also, keep in mind that the tax allocation district will also be on the City of Douglas ballot. So in addition to these candidates, to the mayor and the commission candidates who are going to be running for office, you're also going to have the tax allocation district vote, which could determine whether or not we get a Chick-fil-A. Everybody's talking.
Mr. Preston, you sitting over there smiling, and you should be, because you keep up the most mess in the city of Douglas that I have ever seen. The most mess. You keep this community divided based on racial lines. It's time out for your mess. And the citizens of Douglas need to see you for who you really are. And I'm addressing you here and now because you won't give me an opportunity to talk with you face to face. You won't consult with me about anything. But you go to your wherever you go, your house or wherever, and then you make your comments. And all those comments you made over the past weekend after qualification on Friday were so nasty, saying about Tony Park is our guy. The white folks can put Tony Park in, all that kind of mess. And you spoke about myself and Commissioner Durham trying to put enmity between white folks and between myself and him, trying to already put salt in the game against my nephew. You didn't bother to mention that Rodney Johnson, who is running against Commissioner Durham, you didn't bother to mention that that's the mayor's nephew. But you want to say about who my nephew is that's running for mayor, Terrence Coley. Well, to the people of Douglas, let me say to you, you judge Terrence Coley on his own worth. That's right. He's a Coley, that's right. He is my nephew, that's right. And one thing the citizens of Douglas can't admit about the Coleys, we're going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. We're not going to lie to you and try to sugarcoat it. And if you don't like that, then that's on you. But you know, when we say something to you, you can take that to the bank, cause we're not gonna sit and lie to try to make you, okay, yeah, no, we don't play those kind of games. We wasn't reared up that way, and gladly so. So, Mr. Preston and Mayor Park and whomever else playing your games, play them. But it's on the citizens of Douglas to do the right thing. Because like I said in that post I made, y'all don't come running to me when you vote for the wrong person. Don't come running to me if you don't select the right person who's gonna be fair, who's gonna do right, regardless of the color of their skin. It's on y'all. It's on y'all, because this community should be fair and way better than what we are. I think that's all I have for tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pierce.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to start out there saying that school time, it is in full force. And we're asking the citizens of Douglas, if you would, please, Mayor, please, sir, to start out 10, 15, 20 minutes earlier, according to where you got to go. Because we do not want an incident that happened over in Fisher, Georgia, that the school bus was transporting some football players back home, and there was a car pulled out in front of the school bus, and there was some of the kids got hurt on that school bus. Even the driver, along with one of the kids, I think, crashed into the windshield because I was over in Tipton with my dad, and I want y'all to keep him in your prayers because he's going through something.
School teacher crashed through the windshield, not a driver.
While I was over there, they brought a lot of kids in, and I'm asking everybody from Coffee County, with school being in full force, please take out extra time to wherever you're going, to take out a little extra time to give you time to get to where you need to get to. Next thing I have is that election time is here. We have candidates seeking for various seats. We ask the citizens to go out and vote for the best candidate. That is your right. Main thing is go out and vote. Please, ma'am, and please, sir. I'd like to say congratulations to the Trojans on their first win on Friday night. I think they have a home game this coming Friday night. Me, along with Jordan, and maybe my wife, Bobby Jean, will be there to support them. Also, my last thing is keep the Johnson family in your prayers. Pastor Johnson, along with Mother Johnson from Pine Street, Lighthouse. Good young lady, church-going lady. She was wheelbound, but she did not let that stop her from going to church every Sunday. She passed away on today, you know, everything. So keep the Johnson family in your prayers, you know. That's all I got to do.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to say, first off, I would like to commend all the citizens of Ward 2 and tell them thank you for letting me sit in this seat, because if it wasn't for the citizens that elected me, I would not be here to be the voice of them on today. And I tell them thank you. I tell them thank you. I tell them thank you. From the start when we qualified, it was in my spirit that I would run a clean campaign, because running a clean campaign and with God in my life, I don't have to fight an unnecessary battle that I have to go against. I fight my battle through prayer, and I fight my battle through relationship. And then saying that, with Ward 2, I built a relationship with our constituents of Ward 2. I went door to door on a golf cart. Just had a stroke. Well, I didn't have a stroke then, but I had the stroke after I was elected. But I went door to door, get black, Hispanic, white, it didn't matter to me. I don't see color. But I built a relationship with those citizens. And I can sit here today to say that I'm honest, I'm dependable, and I'm passionate. But most of all, I'm determined to reborn the community involvement. And I want the citizens to access to themselves. Do you know your status? Do you know your status as a citizen? I want to see our citizens more involved in local government, more involved in our school board, more involved in our city. Because if it wasn't for you, we will not be sitting in this seat. And no one should take that lightly. Because if it wasn't for them and God, nothing would be possible. But some things you just have to put in God's hand and pray about it. Just like the minister said, the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. But the scripture also says, if my people that are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, turn from your wicked ways and seek my face, he said, there I will heal the land. If we're going to see anything change, we got to know our status and stand up as citizens and get involved. Because if you're not going to get involved, there's no need to have a voice. And we are the voices that represent you. My name is Containment Goddard Durham, and I am the Commissioner of Ward 2. And I solicit your vote on November the 2nd, on November the 5th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Gow?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Like everybody else, I appreciate the opportunity that I have to be seated on our commission and to work with this entire commission for the betterment of our city and our community. Look forward to serving the next 4 years and helping to make our city better and stronger to serve our citizens. As I think about what I would like to do ahead, I've got 4 main areas I want to address. I want to exercise good stewardship over City of Douglas funds and help oversee our budget. I want to work to encourage economic growth in Douglas and Coffee County. I want to continue to support the improvement of city facilities, especially for parks and recreation, to enhance the quality of life for our citizens and our employees. And last but not least, I want to ensure that we adequately fund our public safety agencies to make sure our citizens are kept safe and secure. And whatever else it'll take to just grow our community. We have our challenges, but I agree with Commissioner McNeil. We've been able to accomplish a lot in these last 4 years, and I look forward to what we can do over the next 4 years if we try to strive to work together. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. My comments are as follows. First of all, the city manager texted me, we do have a utility committee meeting. So at the conclusion, we'll have a recess and let everyone depart. And we'll stay in the chamber and take care of the utilities, okay? My comments are as follows. First of all, Mighty Coffee Hot Trojans did me some justice. I was over there in Brunswick. The game was well in hand. Those are the type of games that I like. No stress in my life. I don't like last minute wins. I want to be up by 45 points by the end of the first quarter. I don't want no stress in my life. Because when you lose them close ones, that 100-mile trip seems like 500. So keep going, Trojans. As Mr. Taylor said, that school is in. Let's please be mindful of leaving a little early, making sure that we get our children into bed so that they're well rested, get a good meal in them so they can go there to learn. And I heard Miss Murray say this one time, and I see her over there, said the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you learn, the more you earn. And it is statistically proven that the more education that you have, the more you're going to earn during this life. So look, I always tell the students, remember, the teacher already has their degree and already has a job. They trying to give you some knowledge to help you along your way. So always be mindful of our teachers, our educators, the janitors, the lunchroom workers, the bus drivers. My next thing is, the Tykes allocation district is coming up, and that is going to give the citizens the opportunity on November the 5th to go vote to see if we're going to put a little skin in the game, to see if we can have Hobby Lobby, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Cookout, and Marshalls. That's the initial group. So give us the opportunity to try to improve the quality of life. Maybe we can get some of the surrounding counties to come here and pick up a few things. Also, I want you to be mindful is that we're still talking to a couple industries. Try to keep the streets as clean as you can. Clean up around your house, because guess what? If we do land a major industry, those employers are going to be looking for housing in all areas of our community. So we want to make sure that we have a great presentation when they ride through. We do the jump drop off twice a month. Please take advantage of that. My next thing is, this is my second time sitting in this seat. This is my second time sitting in this seat. And Mr. Roper had a profound impact on me. Before I had the first meeting as the mayor, I think I was 40 years old. I had never sat in any elected position in my life. And over there across the hallway, I was talking to Mr. Roper, and I said, Mr. Roper, and notice I call him Mr. Roper. I don't even call him Commissioner Roper, because he ascended above that role. Everybody calls him Mr. Roper. And I was trying to tell him I had all these grandiose ideas. He said, boy, if you sit down and shut up, I can teach you something. You know what? I sat my butt on the corner of my desk, and I listened to John Lee Roper guide me. When I wanted to go left, nah, we did that back in 1984, son. That ain't gonna work. I'm gonna tell you why it ain't gonna work. Well, what about this, Mr. Roper? And I say that because at the age of 40, I felt as though our city had some issues, and that I wanted to come down here and I wanted to correct those issues. But you know what? I think we did a lot of good things. My first administration. One of the things I'm always mindful of, whenever I see Parks and Recreation, I see Douglas, Coffee County Parks and Recreation. And I always keep that in the uppermost part of my mind. What can we do together? We have built a second to none Parks and Recreation program throughout this state. But you know something else? It didn't look good. The optics of that entire exchange didn't look good. And you know what? When I came back this time, I remember the night I was laying on my bed, in the master bedroom. I was laying across the bed, and I was waiting and watching the election returns, hoping and praying that the United States of America was gonna elect President Obama. And when they did, man, you talking about somebody, I was on cloud 9. And throughout his administration, I watched him get punched. I watched him get talked about. I watched him get lied upon, crucified. He used to make me so mad. Won't you fight back? They just punching you. But he knew that what he was doing as the president was gonna be forever. His legacy was gonna be forever. And when he won re-election the second time, I was still in the master bedroom talking to my wife. I said, you know what? I wish President Obama would have been president before I took office the first time. He would have showed me how to act. When you sit in a position of authority, there's a responsibility that you have. There's a responsibility. Going back to Mr. Roper, there are 6 commissioners up here and there's 1 mayor. Mr. Roper say, stay out of my ward. I represent my ward. If I need you, I'll come get you. I said, well, Mr. Roper, he said, hold on. If I need you, I'll come get you. If my ward is messed up, it's my fault, not yours. So I try to stay in my role as the mayor. Try not to get down in the weeds of the commissioners, nor do I try to get in the way of the city manager and his staff. I always remember what Jerome told me the first time. You have a legal umbrella of protection. When you go outside of your role, I can't protect you. The first time I sat in this seat, I got sued a lot, personally. Right, Jerome?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes,
I got
sir,
sued personally, a lot. Sitting in here, in depositions after deposition. And Jerome said, hey, he was in his official capacity. As soon as they deemed I was in my official capacity, they dropped the lawsuit. Why do I tell you that? As the mayor of the city of Douglas, I have a responsibility. I am the face of this community. I will always walk with my head high. I will always put the city of Douglas first. Always. Always. Why? Because I represent 11,656 citizens. All of them. Whether they can vote or not. I represent them all. That's what it means to be the mayor of the city of Douglas. I check my ego and my biases at that door. And I make the best decisions that I can for our community. Because guess what? Facebook, everybody is watching. Everybody. On the Economic Development Authority says that a lot of industries don't even contact the state anymore. They go on Facebook. They go on live feeds. They go social media. They can find out everything about the city of Douglas that they want to find out. So guess what? We are talking to a couple industries that could change. That could change the way things are here in Douglas. I'm not going to let this mouth be the reason that they don't come. When I sit on the Economic Development Board, I say, look, I understand those problems. But guess what? We have to up these wages. Up these wages so somebody can buy a house instead of renting a house. Listen to me. Up these wages so somebody can buy a house instead of renting a house. Well, Mayor Paul, you doing right. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just because God been good to me don't mean I forgot. I'm still from D5, AO1. Because lest you forget. Lest you forget. So as the mayor of the city of Douglas, I'm going to walk high. Because this city has been good to my family. And I am trying to repay a debt. A debt that I cannot repay. Because guess what? Mr. Roper gave a lot for me to sit my butt in this seat. I am going to do everything that I can to honor everybody that went before me with honor and just as much respect as I can give. And if I have to bite my tongue, hold my peace for the greater good, that's what I'm gonna do. Because as the mayor of Douglas, and this is my last comment, the president of the United States is an idea. It's a concept. Here is a concept of free government, democracy, a concept that we should hold dear and dear to our hearts. And I do. So with that being said, all the citizens of Douglas and Coffee County, we are grateful for your support. Go out and exercise your right to vote. Go out there. We're going to do everything that we can to continue to make the city of Douglas great. At this time, I have no more comments. We're going to take a recess, and then we'll have the utilities, okay? Thank y'all.
This is a Getto Free Press. I'm George Lyons. I'm over in Douglas, Georgia. I was calling because when nobody else will report, you don't see any TV stuff.
I'm going to let you know we decided not to answer any questions. That was Mr. Harris answering y'all those questions, so I respect y'all not to answer me any questions as well. Just stick to your statement and be done with that. So we're not going to answer any questions because of fear of manipulation. So with that said, I'm going to introduce Ms. Olivia Pearson, City Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, thank you, Mr. Worthy. To begin, I'm gonna fall back on something that Mr. Presley mentioned. He said that you stated that it had nothing to do with the group. Well, I'm not sure that you stated it didn't have anything to do with the group. I know just a minute ago, Jerry Hudson said it was mainly on Douglas Now, it was mainly about Bobby Worthy.
His article was.
Not quite. Supported by Commissioner Pearson. That's what he stated, yep. Which was a total lie because I had nothing to do with Bobby Worthy and Larry Neesmith. That was totally separable from this whole thing that you all have blown to hell because that's what you've done.
His name wasn't on that flyer for it, for the meeting?
No, that's not all you said. That's not all you said. You said supported by Commissioner Pearson. What was supported by Commissioner Pearson? The meeting that I called, that's exactly right. I called the meeting. Justice League did not call the meeting, first and foremost. They didn't call the meeting. I held a meeting through Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative for Economic and Social Justice. I invited Mr. Bobby Worthy and the NAACP. Let me finish, Mr. Hudson.
That was the point of the article, of the mention of you.
No. You claim that the Justice League held this meeting, which was a lie. It was a lie. You said it, as well as the Douglas Enterprise said it. Justice League did not hold a meeting here in Douglas, Georgia. Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative held a meeting. I invited Mr. Worthy. I invited Mr. O'Hara as district rep for the NAACP. I invited Mr. Hal Presley. And matter of fact, I invited the entire community of the city of Douglas, Coffee County, Georgia. I announced it on my city council meeting. So why in the world tell me would I hold a meeting that's going to succumb to or support hatred towards white people or any other people? Why would I hold a public announcement of a meeting like that? I haven't been in office for 15 years to do something so low down and dirty. See, you had your facts, you had your statements incorrect. Had you all given us the respect and decency to come and ask a question, Luke, you were at the meeting when I announced about that flyer. If you have a concern or issue about it being to hate white folks or kill white folks, seemed like to me you would have had the courtesy, being that you were there, to have came to me, Commissioner Pearson, what is this about? But no, not one of you, journalism fellas or lady, I'm not sure what part you played in it. So if you did play a part, excuse that comment. Not one of you had the decency or respect to come to me as an elected official and ask the question, what is this all about? A decent journalist who is seeking the truth has a moral and ethical obligation to go and get both sides of a story and not just print one side and not just assume. And none of you did that. So yes, I feel my life is threatened with something like this. And you sat there when Mr. Presley asked the question, have you gotten any feedback from anybody? Nobody would say anything. You didn't answer it. But I already know the answer to it. You've gotten feedback because I've gotten feedback. I've gotten feedback from white people. I've got feedback from black people. And they're not satisfied with it, black or white. And they have all said to me, Olivia, we know that's not true. So some people who might not know me might not know, but those who know me know I wouldn't take part in anything that's going to deal with hatred or killing or anything in breaking the law. So on now today, you all want to come and be a part of this press release, this news conference on today, after you have done your damage. Because like I say, damage has been done. Because don't everybody know all of us and what we stand for. It's just the grace of God that those who do know us know we wouldn't dare partake of any such foolishness.
Amen.
And I feel like what you're doing is displaying what you have in your heart to print something like this.
Amen.
Yes. I can say to you, not one of you have ever had me to say anything racist to you, to say anything about hatred to you, in dealing with your media and dealing with me. None of you can say that I've ever said anything racist. If it's right, if it's a fact about what has happened, and it might tend to lean on one side of the color line or the other, call it what you may. But God be my judge. He knows my heart. And know I wouldn't partake of anything such as this that you all have intended to influence this community to believe.
Amen.
So,
you want to go and dig and talk about the use of the Coley Center. Get the records about the Coley Center. You dig on and see what you find. If anybody got any money for using the Coley Center, it definitely was not Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson. Right? All right. I have never used the Coley Center or any facility of the city of Douglas in an inappropriate manner. That's why I announced the meeting of that we were having on October 3rd. That's why I announced it at my city council meeting. And I said then, anybody who is concerned about the community and would like to help and take part, please come. That was my request. But you all are tending to try to divide this community more and more and more. I'm concerned as to who employs the Douglas Now employees, as well as the Douglas Enterprise. What do these people stand for? I'm really surprised at this time. I'm surprised. Because your editors should have told you, go get the other side. See what they have to say about it before we print this.
Should have been fast checked.
It should have been.
Should have been fast checked.
And it's sad. It's sad because it's too late in the day with too much everything that's going on in our surroundings and our communities and our different states. It's too much and too late in the day to try to print something like this to make white folk feel that they need to go and buy guns, which was announced at a church meeting. Announced at church by a white lady that she needs to go and buy a gun because of this group that has been formed. And I suggest to the rest of y'all that y'all go by one is what she was quoted as saying. So if it's in y'all's heart to cause this kind of deliberate tension and division, you need to go check yourselves.
They damage the community.
You need to go check yourselves. God is not pleased. God is not pleased. When I chose to run for office, I found all kind of opposition. Some by black folks, but some by white folks. And ever since I've been in office, I've had to deal with you all saying statements that were not true, trying to blemish my name. So whatever it is you're seeking, I hope you find it. But I can tell you, my name is not going to be blemished because the people know what I stand for. When I talk to the white city employees, Commissioner Pearson, we know you're not like that. But like I say, my concern is the people who do not know me. Who do not know me.
Amen.
Because my mother, an honorable woman, who I got emails and texts from people telling me when I expressed what was going on my Facebook page, they said, we know what your mother stood for. We know she didn't raise you that way. But I'm wondering, how have you all been raised? Yes, I'm wondering today. I'm wondering today. Because somebody from the media should have had the decency to see the true facts so justice would be known and would prevail. That's right. This plaque, since you all say recent altercation shines light on new militant organization, that's what y'all said. That's what y'all said. And I'm trying to find out where's this militant organization at. Because it's not us. It's not us. Some of us can barely walk. We are elderly. Walking with sticks. But we are militant. Because we state what is the truth. We're seeking to make the community better, which is what I said at that city council meeting when I announced that meeting on October 3rd. So how did militant organization come out of it? It's wrong. The meeting I had, Southern Rural Black Women, has been here in Douglas Coffee County since 1999. And I was asked to chair and lead this group. Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative for Economic and Social Justice. Not just justice for black people or black women, but it's geared toward women. Because women have had a difficult time finding daycare, someone to keep their kids so they can go to work, trying to finish and get a GED so they can get a good job. That's why this group was formed and has received federal monies and money from private groups to help people who are a part of this to better their lives. And you would take the meeting we held, which was hosted by Southern Rural Black Women, and distort the facts. Shame on you. Shame on you.
We're trying to create
Yeah.
And, I think we should get something out of it. That's my opinion.
Commissioner Hill?
I respect our city manager's opinion here that there's been that there's been property of equal value traded. I think our relationship with the Board of Education, we want to maintain that very well, an open door type policy. And in fact, I just met with the school board the other night about our land bank authority idea and our $5,000 we requested from them on that. So they're considering that. That'll be a plus for us there. So I would be in favor